Good afternoon to everyone. We are very proud to be holding this very important event. I think it's the first time for Junction that we have the honor to have two ministers of NUG, what we consider the official government of Myanmar in our event. So we are again thankful to Minister Susanna and Minister Mio for having agreed to be part of a talk about a very crucial topic. We are wearing this white ribbon as a sign of our commitment not to commit any violence against women or children, for the matter of against any other human being. And today, unfortunately, we have to talk about the violence that is being committed as we talk in Myanmar since the coup, the very coup of February, and even before of that. And there is a lot of impunity still for atrocities that have been committed in the past and violence against women as a tool of war. So in all this, I have to first introduce myself. I am Sciortino. I am the director of Junction, a public venue based here in Bangkok. We focus on all aspects of Southeast Asia, but these days we do quite a lot on Myanmar because of the importance of what is happening in Myanmar, not only for the country, but because it has really resonate with a lot of other happening in the entire region. Even the people that look at the exhibition comment about the situation in Myanmar in relation to Thailand, for instance, another country in the region. So it's important in itself, but also important for the region and for the entire world. Today, we will have four speakers, starting with Minister Susanna. Then we will have Khin Ohmar, a leading activist who is very well known, doesn't need much introduction. Then we will have our partner in this, the head of the Women League of Burma, Moet. She will be also talking today. And finally, we will show a video of Minister Mio of Human Rights, which unfortunately at the last moment could not be in presence in the Zoom space, but had made the effort to send a special video to all of us. And then we will have Debbie Stothard, another quite well-known activist on issue related to Myanmar, that will be giving some final comments before we open the floor for questions and answers. So without further ado, please, Minister Susan, please start this event.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susanna Lalaso. I'm Union Minister of Women, Youth and Children, Ministry of Unity Government. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers and organizations that gave their most effort to this photo exhibition happen. Women out on the streets for a new Burma to commemorate the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. We are going through extremely painful events and yet a turning point in history in Burma. Today, on the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, I'll give an overview on Myanmar from the ground. Since military coup, February 1, the entire population of Burma was caught off guard, but a few brave young generation from the whole country took the streets peacefully to reject the coup. And the whole country followed them, and We have so many demonstrations and strikes along the country. As the days and months pass by, nearly 10 months of coup, the military has made no single compromise, but has been intensifying their brutal crackdown against any opposition or anyone, arresting more people, torturing and killing, raiding the offices, destroying and loot civilians' private properties, attacking ambulance and hospital, and the list continues. That led to thousands flee from the urban area to ethnic border area. The regime responded by airstrike in ethnic area, driving over 200,000 villagers out of homes. Despite military brutally killing and oppressing, the movement has not stopped. It becomes fuel for the brave Myanmar people to express how much they long for democracy, how much they hate the rule of military. We can see the demonstration every day on the streets of the cities as well as rural villages. They are led by activists, young people, Generation Z, and women. I'm really surprised and appreciate how women are creative and active in leading the people in against military coup movement. Women activities, of course, the center of creation, they come up with very interesting slogans and activities to motivate the people, like sarong demonstration, flowers revolution, performance arts, skits. You can count it more. You see the wonderful photos of how women lead the Spring Revolution in this photo exhibition. That's why the spirit of Myanmar people has not faded, even nearly 10 months of struggle. Since February 1, the military has killed 89 women out of 1,222 civilians. 1,338 women, including famous actresses, models, activists, and politicians were arrested because of their participation in peaceful demonstrations. Many were tortured, sexual abuse, and raped during interrogation. 4 women got death sentence. 2 women were sentenced to life in prison, and 1 woman sentenced to 20 years because of accusation of heavy crime which were not committed by them. Ministry of Women, Youth, Children Affairs received many complaints and reports on gender-based violence and sexual violence committed by gender foes to detain women and girls, so that the ministry convening the hearing sections with survivors and relatives and friends of women detainees. The stories are heartbreaking. All the atrocities committed by the military constitute the crime against humanity. The perpetrators of the autocracy must be held accountability. For the time being, our ministry, directly linked with Special Envoy of Sexual Violence to UNSG, and update the cases in IIMM database. Our ministry theme for this year is End Impunity and Violence Against Women. Ministry of Women and Youth Children released the statements on violence against women cases time to time to warn the gender for their action and to advocate the international communities. We will use every means to protect the citizens, including women and children. It's including existing mechanisms and international practices. International communities like UN, ASEAN, and diplomats condemned the action of military gender, but we need more pressure and collaboration to stop gender committing violence against women brutally by gun rape, torturing, and killing. As the people's government, we are trying to organize the resources and system to set up the ministry to serve the people of Myanmar. Our ministry is organizing CDM staff, civil disobedience movement staff, to work under the ministry in different areas of Myanmar. For the time being, 570 CDMers are serving under Ministry of Women, Youth and Children Affairs, with supporting pregnant women, help detained women and youth, child protection, and maternity kits and medicine support to the conflict area. So far, 50,000 pregnant women, thousands of detained women, hundreds of thousands of IDP women benefit from our ministry program. NUG is people-centered government. I strongly believe that with international support and this strong women leadership and unprecedented unity among the Myanmar people and the determination to achieve a shared goal to build a federal democratic country will hold the country together. After 70 years of military rule at gunpoint, the people are determined to fight till the end and turn to a new chapter for the peaceful and bright future for the country. So we need more international pressure, need more recognitions and acknowledgements to NUG to protect people and to bring peace for Myanmar. And impunity and sexual violence against women. We must win. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this very moving speech, especially at the end. I was also almost in tears. But we will continue with now the video from Minister Mio, which will continue to tell us what NUG is doing to bring some accountability for the crimes that are happening now in Myanmar. So please, Bom, can you put the video?
Hello, my distinguished guests, brothers, sisters, and my colleague. It is a true pleasure to join you today to mark the opening of the photo exhibition, Women Out on the Street for a New Burma, and to commemorate the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. I wish to acknowledge all my fellow speakers and also thank you to the organizers for this very kind invitation. With all of our shared experience and history, it is a privilege for me to join you as the Minister of Human Rights of the National Unity Government. I have been asked today to talk about the need for inclusive accountability and justice for women. We are all aware of the military junta's atrocity against women and girls, including women and girls of diverse sexual orientation and gender identity. The very first marcher of the Spring Revolution in Burma was a woman, Nyatutte Khai. And since then, women and girls has been deliberately and systematically targeted on account of their sex and gender. The Minister of Human Rights and my ministry continue to document atrocity that includes murder, sexual violence, torture, arbitrary arrest, and detention, as well as denial of access to medical care. These include war crimes and crime against humanity. So how shall we move forward in secure accountabilities at the time when, for the most part, the international community has turned its back on Myanmar and the military junta's crime? Firstly, it is very important to recognize that women are acting to prevent further military crimes. In addition to being CDM and the strike leaders, medics, and activists, women have taken the protection of their communities into their own hands. Many have joined the defensive war, are on the front line, fighting against the military junta's forces. Women here are defenders, not victims. At the same time, the NUG is exploring every avenue to publicize the junta's crimes and to pursue accountabilities. We are documenting the crime against women and girls and raising them in our public reports and statements and in our submission to the UN, bodies, and experts. We have engaged with the International Criminal Court and has submitted a declaration that given the court authorities to investigate alleged atrocity crime going back to the 1st of July 2002. We have reached out to the International Court of Justice and has offered to cooperate with the Gambia versus Myanmar case under the Genocide Convention. This case, as you know, directly involved grave acts of sexual violence and attack against Rohingya women and girls. We will share information with the Independent Investigative Mechanism for Myanmar, IIMM, a special UN body set up to collect evidence of crimes and to support prosecution. We are cooperating with the other UN bodies and experts, as well as including a special rapporteur of Myanmar and the UN human rights officers. And we are encouraging countries that have universal jurisdiction to target the military leadership. Justice in international court and tribunals are incredibly slow and often does not deliver at all. We need to pressure countries to use their national courts to prosecute the junta's criminals. In closing, any form of accountability must be informed and led by women and girls. Any form of accountabilities must be shaped to their needs. Any forms of accountability must be inclusive of all communities, ethnicities, and identities. Any form of accountability must be conducted in ways that avoid re-traumatization, and we should look beyond a victim's narrative to reshape the society and culture norms that has allowed these crimes to repeatedly take place. At the same time, justice to women and girls requires repair, which will take many different forms when it comes to addressing the needs of survivors, and the prevention of recurrence, which force us to reconsider our laws, policies, and institutions, and most urgently, to intensify our effort to remove and prosecute the criminal military juntas. I thank you all for your leadership, for your courage, and for your services to the Myanmar people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Minister Mio. The last moment we couldn't be present in Zoom because of a very heavy travel, which doesn't allow internet connection. Just to be sure, he sent his registered video just this morning. So thank you for making the effort in the middle of many other important things. Now we are moving to Khin, one leading activist and a friend who has always consistently advocated for women's rights and for peace and justice in Myanmar and in the region. Please, Khin.
Thank you, Leah. Thanks for organizing today's event and also this really great photo exhibition. It's hard work, like a really both sadness and hope by seeing all of the courage of the women of my country. Today, I would like to emphasize my discussion on particularly on the military sexual violence by the Myanmar military, and also the impunity that they enjoy, and also some of the work that we have been doing. So I want to start saying that this Myanmar military's rape, it's been a long-term problem. They have used for so long rape as a weapon of war in their military campaigns, military operations against the ethnic and religious minority communities, or rather minoritized communities of Burma, Myanmar. That include the Rohingya, Kachin, Shan, Aung, Rakhine. Of course, these facts are well known. I know that those of you who work on or follow Myanmar situation for a long time, this sexual violence against women by the Myanmar military is not new. It's been well documented, especially the ethnic women organizations of our country, including the Women's League of Burma that I co-founded in 1998. There have been hundreds of cases of the well-documented rape and gang rape and sexual violence by the Myanmar military that's been brought to the international attention for a long time. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like all of these hundreds of documented cases are just the tip of the iceberg. Many cases had gone unreported. The military's systemic and persistent use of rape as a weapon of war is something that we have to really seriously look into when we look into this whole Myanmar situation. Sometimes, the situation is so overwhelming, and we really focus on like how the military is committing their international atrocity crimes, but also it's important for us to look back of how they have done also in the past, because the pattern of behavior, the generation changed, but the pattern of behavior of this Myanmar military has not changed. It's pretty much copy and paste. And the perpetrators of the past, remain at large, and allowing this military, like not holding this military to account of their past crimes is what allowing them to continue the crimes of today. And I think it's important that we really grab on this fact, because the international community continue to be failed like repeatedly in this particular aspect of how to hold this military to account, because the root causes of the Myanmar people's immense suffering for generations is this military. And it's really hard, it really hurts us to see that the international community, especially, of course, I'm talking about the United Nations, the Security Council and General Assembly, still lacks political will and commitment to really address this root cause of the Myanmar crisis. The local women organizations have already, concluded way back that sexual violence is a part of a deliberate and systematic pattern to target the women and girls, particularly in the conflict and ethnic areas. And this fact was in fact confirmed by the UN fact-finding mission in 2019, which found that sexual violence was a hallmark of the Tatmadaws military operations as they were investigating the genocide against the Rohingya, the case of the Rohingya situation. The fact-finding mission also noted that sexual and gender-based violence is being carried out within the broader context of endemic and structural gender inequality and discrimination against women and girls across all levels of society, and that the net result is a climate of impunity that enables sexual and gender-based violence to continue unabated. And we have seen that in the past 10 years, when Myanmar opened up, there were rape of like a minor rape across the country skyrocketed. There are sexual assaults and harassment prevalent, come to be to the point of like Myanmar society never really saw that, made it public in the eyes of the public. And all of this is, of course, is because this a climate of impunity has far reached, entrenched across the society, that lack of rule of law in this country under the iron fist of the military has allowed these perpetrators at all levels, and to enjoy the impunity. Let me share with you my experience meeting with the survivors of the Myanmar military rapes and the gang rapes from the different ethnic communities. I started learning about the military rape since 1986, 1987. Well, that's 35 years ago. And I started meeting the survivors since 1998, 1999. That's 23 years ago. And lately, my encounter or meeting with the survivors are the Rohingya women, the Rohingya sisters who are on Bangladesh border. That was in 2018. As Women's Legal Burma, we brought this widespread and systematic use of the military's rape and sexual violence against women to the United Nations since early 2000. We were able to get some attention from the UN bodies such as the Human Rights Commission and the General Assembly at that time, when the UN recognized this widespread and systematic use of the rape by the security forces in Myanmar in the resolutions. And yet there were no real actions from these UN bodies. Only in the case of the Rohingya genocide, after that, with the investigation and documentation of the special rapporteur, then Ms. Yang Hee and the fact-finding missions, their recommendations, and our advocacy in combined, we were able to get the UN to take the step to move to establish such mechanism as the IIM, the independent investigative mechanism for Myanmar. But you see, this is not enough, because it's great to have the mechanism who will document, investigate, and prepare and archive those evidences. But without any prosecutorial body, what are we going to do with those documentations? Myanmar clearly lacks the domestic judicial accountability mechanisms, even before the time of the military's coup attempt. But now with the military's coup attempt, this recurrence of the sexual violence by the military, the whole like a vicious cycle starts all over again. So I'm not going to get into detail because both ministers have already stressed in detail of what is happening to the women and children at this point. But I think what we are really missing is that this continuing lack of political will from the UN. From the UN Security Council. We've been pushing for the UN Security Council to actually adopt a resolution to hold this military to account. by referring Myanmar situation to the International Criminal Court, to impose the global arms embargo, and also to impose the targeted economic sanctions. But these are the real concerted, concrete actions if we are to really hold this military to account, and if we are to really going to stop the violence on the ground. But we don't see that. We continue to see the lack of political will, and we see all countries like Russia and China, with their national interest, continue to be a major stumbling block for us to get the action to the right direction. So what do we do at this point? Is that I have a specific call today, as we are commemorating this very important day for the elimination of violence against women. I see the UK. The UK has a new foreign secretary who just launched to end sexual violence in conflict across the world. While UK is a pen holder at the UN at the UN Security Council. What does pen holder really mean? Is like anything comes to Burma Myanmar agenda in the Security Council, they are the one to sort of like take the lead, take the initiative. We need to see the UK commitment, not by the statement of concern from the Security Council, but we need the UK to take the lead, to push to the maximum, to get the action from the Security Council level. If not, what we need is both the UK and the US and the EU and the other countries' governments to make the three cuts. Cut the ammunitions to the Myanmar military, cut all the financial flow to the Myanmar military, but also form a coalition of the like-minded countries to address by really supporting the National Unity Government, recognizing and also supporting the National Unity Government declaration of the Article 12 of the Rome Statute, calling on the ICC to exercise the jurisdiction. I think these are the key concrete actions to stop the military violence on the ground, and also to hold this military and end their impunity. With that, I'll stop here. Leah, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Khin Ohmar, for giving us a perspective of how entrenched violence against women is in the context of Myanmar, and not only of Myanmar, but as you say, 35 years already of documented violence have still not moved the international community to take action. And thank you for suggesting some very practical steps to we all can put some pressure on our respective government to try indeed to achieve those very concrete steps. I want to say the exhibition is not only about violence, it's actually more about what women can do against violence. It shows the resilience of women, it shows the courage of women, it shows, like Minister Susanna has said, it shows the creativity of women of using cultural symbols like the sarong, for instance, to fight against patriarchy, to show their bras and their even the sanitary pads with the statements that they protect women more than the military protect their people. So there is a lot of creativity, a lot of energy, a lot of courage going on in Myanmar in their continuing fight. And I want to show the photograph of the exhibition here before we go to the partner who made this possible, because we could not have done the exhibition without collaborating with two groups. One is the Women League of Burma, who provided the documentation of their activities, and the other one is a photo project of a young photographer collaborating with Laure Sigel, who basically have photographed all kinds of demonstration and action in different locations across Myanmar. So not only Yangon, actually we have many photos from rural area all over Myanmar. So it shows as really it's a country action. It's not a small group of people that we are talking. So let's watch just a few minutes of the photograph, and then we will have Moet from the Women League of Burma be our last speaker. Please. So we have seen the photograph, that the exhibition, and again, we are thankful to our partner that have made this possible. Now we will go to Moet, please. Nang Moet, yes. Thank you once more for collaborating with us, and please, you have the floor.
Yes, Momo from the Women League of Burma, and thank you so much for inviting us and collaborate with us for this photo exhibition as well. So thank you for inviting me to speak with you all today, also to mark the beginning of the 16-day campaign to end the gender-based violence and the International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women. It is important that only during the next 16 days, but every day that we make call and effort to increase awareness about the physical, psychological, and also emotional harm women face worldwide. So let me share the screen. So women on the front line addressing the coups and the patriarchy in Burma. So women, they not only after the military coups that they are coming in the front and fighting for their rights and fighting for the democracy, but also like the women in Burma in a very, very long history, they are already in the front of the revolution, fighting for their rights and also for fighting for the freedom and fighting for democracy. So as the example, as the experience under the British rule, so the women, they are in the front and they are fighting for the sex disqualification clause in the law. So this is one of the historical women in the front in Burma. And also like in the 88, in the 88 revolution, there are like many women, they come to the streets and they protest not only for the gender equality, not only for the rights of the women, also for the democracy and for the human rights. And including like a schoolgirl and women from the different layers and different background of the women, they come and they protest for their rights and for the democracy. So in this Spring Revolution, women, they play in a really significant role, even under security risk. So after the February 1st, after the military coup in February 1st, like people, they come and peacefully protest on the streets for their right. So there are like more than 60% of the women, they are leading the protests and they come every day, and they protect for their rights and also for the restoring democracy and to eradicate or abolish or end the military dictatorship. So even they are in a really high risk of the security, they come and they protect for this. So women, they also play in a really significant role in this revolution. Not only participate or organizing the protests, they also women are also responding to the need of the internally displaced people due to the offensive war in the ethnic area and across the country. After the coup, like across the country, the military offensive war happened every day. So the IDP and the refugees are increased and day by day, every day. So women, they are also in the front and providing like humanitarian assistance or the need of the people who are suffer from the fighting the civil war, like the IDP and refugee, and also like the women lawyers. They also provide like pro bono service to the detaining, female detaining, and also young detaining people. So there are also some of the photos that women are in the front. Events that they are in the really high risk. They are, like I mentioned before, a lot of women, they respond, they provide the emergency need, and also they advocate for the strong international response to the atrocity taking place, like not only in the national level, but also through in the international. Women, they are really putting efforts for the international really concrete action to take action for the Burma. So women, they do it a lot, organize and they least protect. So like the protect in currently, there are also like the protect that happen in the urban area, like Myanmar or in Mandalay. They are protect every day, and the protect are led by women, and they come up with a really core like what currently we have really hot one, like we are going to wear what we want, but it's not for you to rape us, those kind of things. So there are many women are being arrested, but they stay protect, and they stay at least protect in different areas. And also women support women in the media. So we like the journalist women, they are also like reporting social justice issue across the country and also along the border. And also like I mentioned, women lawyer also offering the pro bono legal service to the detained protector, and also providing the humanitarian aid and to the displaced population. So we in the front line in this Spring Revolution, the women, we are not only fighting for the one specific political party or individual. We are not fighting for this. Women in the front, and we until today, the women are fighting and women are participating in the revolution. Is we have really big goal and big mission. This is like to end any form of dictatorship and establish the federal democracy, which are currently justice, freedom, peaceful must coexist. So women, they play a really significant role, not only to ending the military dictatorship, but also to establish the federal democracy. And to this Spring Revolution, women are also fighting for the ideology, like they are also gender discrimination, gender inequality, a case happening a lot in Burma. But in this revolution, women are fighting for the system, the political system, and also fighting for the ideology that really like women inequality, those kind of things. So women are being arrested, like other speaker already mentioned. There are more than like 88 women, like our ministry already mentioned 89, and we heard that there are around like 100 women are being killed because of their activism and because of their participation in the movement. And also many women are being arrested, and women are also suffering like sexual assault and others issue that facing in the detention center, including like trying to suicide. There are also some cases in the region. So one woman, they because of the torture and the security force by the military junta, and she cannot suffice anymore, and she trying to suicide. So those kind of cases, and there are also like another case in Burma that suffering by the women. So in this revolution, although there are many security risks a lot, but they still play a really significant role. So in this Spring Revolution, like other speaker mentioned, widespread and systematic violence against women by the military junta. So this, including like the conflict-related sexual violence that happen currently, and in a very last week, like in Chin State, there is a gang rapes that rapes the women with a baby and rapes the pregnant women. So before the military coup, like over more than 7 decades, the military, they use like rapes as a weapon of war, and also they focus and they target the women, and they rape and they target the women to destroy the community and the ethnic people. And after the military coup, the women are also suffering like the sexual violence that committed by the military junta. So those kind of sexual violence, especially like conflict-related sexual violence, is really intentionally by the security juntas, widespread, systematic, and also committed the same institution, this military junta, and themselves is impunity is ongoing. They did not get any punishment because of they are committed like those kind of the crimes against humanity and war crimes. And also like women, they are being killed. Around 100 women are killed because of the activism and participation in the movement. And many women suffer and experience torture in the detention center. And there are also like a issue and a case of for the sex exchange, for removing their name from the warrant list. So women, they are also forced to flee to another neighboring country because of the security, and they are also experienced for the women for the sex exchange to remove their name list from the warrant. So thank you. So like my recommendation to the international community is, as currently the international community, they reject the military, and they condemn the military, and they concerns the situation of the Burma, and they like stand, and there are also like statement or that produced by the diplomats and UN agency, and we are really welcome on this. But this is not enough for the people of Burma. Concern or those kind of things is not enough. We really need like the immediate and effective action to take the military to be accountable, because young people, including like the women and young people, they already give their life, and many people already being killed, and there are thousands of people being disappeared. We don't know where are they. We don't know. We cannot contact with them. There are thousands of young people and thousands of women who are in the detention center, and we don't know how they are suffering. Like we cannot imagine how they are going to suffer like sexual assault in the detention center or in the jail, in the prison. So international community, at the international community, just the concern or just a statement is not really enough for the people of Burma. What we need is we really need your really concrete and immediate action to stop like the crimes and violence that by the military junta. So at the international community needs to take really concrete action, and also really us international community to work with the local ethnic women organization, local civic society organization, to be able to respond those kind of emergency needs to the people of Burma. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Moet. And indeed, is what is our concern is how to make people listen who don't want to listen, how to break the indifference, how to move people. And I think the exhibition is an effort indeed to reach a general public, but it is difficult indeed to get people attention. It's difficult to keep people attention, and it's difficult to transform attention into concrete action. But we are all trying, and support you. I want to show again some of the picture, because unfortunately there was some glitch when we tried, and I think it didn't do justice to all the photo of the exhibition. So we are going to try again before giving the word to our commentator, Debbie. Okay, so these were the photographs from the exhibition, and as you can see, are very powerful, and it shows how widespread and creative and powerful this movement is and continue to be. I give the word to Debbie. She's not going to show her face today because she has some tonsillitis. Maybe she talked too much yesterday at the BBC update.
Yes. Thanks, Leah. Thanks, Leah. Yeah, I apologize for not turning on my camera. I'm actually sick in bed today. But I still wanted to be part of this because it's such an honor to be in the same space as Minister Aung Minister Susanna Lalaso, Khin Ohmar, and Momo. I mean, all of us have been friends and colleagues for a very long time, working in the fight against impunity. And today, this event is part of a very honorable and inspiring history of women's activism in Burma. The solidarity is really important. I remember that Minister Myo was actually a partner of Burmese Women's Union and helped form the Burmese Women's Union back in 1995 as part of a preparation for the Burmese student activist engagement with the Beijing Conference on Women. And Khin Ohmar was very important part in the first, actor in the first wave of UN activism led by women from Burma, and her role in WLB and Susanna Lalaso was as women like Khin Ohmar and were on the border, working outside of Burma to do all of this activism and international advocacy. Women like Susanna Lalaso were working inside the country for women's empowerment and to support the fight against impunity for the military's crimes against women, especially ethnic minority nationality women across the country. So, and Namomo is kind of the younger generation who has been starting her work from conflict affected area in her ethnic area, and now and has been in the past few years working in solidarity with diverse women's organizations under the umbrella of the Women's League of Burma. So here we have in the room, you know, a part of that massive history of resistance and creativity and outspoken and courage in confronting the impunity of the military, especially for their atrocity crimes targeting women. And I want to thank Leah, also an old friend who has been working for many years on Southeast Asia. These photos are, you know, a source of inspiration and consolation for all of us who have been working 100% or more than 100% in this past few months since the military started its coup on the 1st of February. You know, there's always going to be moments where we were exhausted, depressed, distraught, outraged, and, you know, just absolutely frustrated and angry. But every time we saw some of these photos in social media, it really gave us a boost to see women's sense of humor and resistance and resilience in these photos. These photos constantly renew our commitment and constantly inspire us. So I hope, you know, what the UN is doing is not good enough. What the ASEAN is doing is absolutely pathetic. And I hope that anyone who's listening now and who will come and will watch these photos, will see these photos in person or online, and heed those voices of all those women who have put their lives and their safety on the line, demanding for justice and accountability. As Minister Aung said, justice and accountability needs to be centered on women. Women's need to be led by women and centered on women's demands, just as every Minister Susanna Lalaso also talked about the creativity of women and their resistance despite the brutality. We also have to recognize that it was women activists who have been an engine of inter-ethnic solidarity. You know, across all of these years, it is the women activists who transcended the boundaries of religion and ethnic identity to forge solidarity. And when the violence against the Rohingya started, and the mainstream human rights movement were reluctant to even say the word Rohingya or to even acknowledge the human rights violations against them, it was the women's movements, the women's organizations that had the courage to stand up in solidarity with the Rohingya. So it's not a surprise that it was women leaders who were at the forefront of resistance against the military coup and continue to be so. So we need to acknowledge and respect these women, and by ensuring that the UN Security Council takes action, that ASEAN is less wimpy and wishy-washy when it comes to addressing the coup and addressing justice for people in Burma. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I see your voice is still strong, which is good news. So we have few questions to pose to all of you to comment or reflect upon. The first question comes from Germany. Very strong image, and indeed there are a lot of women fighting, as we can see, against the military. But what about, can you tell us more about the voice of men, and what are the risks of men and the risk of women, if compare, or are the same risk or are different risks they are confronted to? This is the first question. The second question, how can we ensure that women, and especially the women activists within Myanmar, can take care of themselves in such a difficult environment with all the risks they are exposed to. How can we provide support or ensure that we take care of the defenders? And a third question, what are the key messages that we all should be giving to the UN and ASEAN as women activists from the region? Yesterday, with the updates with Debbie, we had a long conversation about the role, or actually the lack of role, of the ASEAN Commission on Women and Children. We don't hear their voice in the defense of women. What are our three key messages to them? So maybe we can start to reflect on this, and then we can have some more questions. I will start with Minister Susanna, please. You can choose.
So Leah, what is the question one number? I didn't get it.
The first one is basically asking about the men, because indeed we have focused on the woman. So the photograph is to show the role of women in the demonstration. So the question is more to ask about what is happening with the men, and are they more at risk or less at risk? Are they exposed to different risks? How they relate men and women in this struggle for democracy.
Yes, thank you for the questions. So I think the topic of the photo exhibitions is women out on the streets for a new Burma. So we can see the women activities in the photo exhibition. Of course, the whole country, men and women, young people, children, everyone participate in the movement. So I think this Spring Revolution is not only fight against the gender, they also fight the masculine and also the culture of the man. So after we have the Sarong Revolution, and the next campaign is the men. They put women sarong on their heads. It is really surprise, because in our culture, the sarong is very much taboo and untouchable by men. So we can see the men, young, especially young men, they wrap the sarong on their head and take the photo and put in their social media. And also we also have the flower campaign. Many men and young boys, they put the flowers on their hair to show the solidarity with the women and girls. So I think this is revolution on gender, we against the military coup, revolution on culture, revolution on the taboo that we believe at the whole life. So this is very unique. That's why we believe that we will win this battle. We must win. Otherwise, we will be under the military coup forever. So the people will win. And the second question, thank you for the acknowledgement of the women activists. Yes, they are very brave, and many women. Now, according to our ministry record, there are 1,338 women are in the prison. I think this is not too different from the WLB data. I think almost the same. So we have more than thousands of women activists in the prison. So we have our ministry. We work with the civil society and also women group. We call Tawinza Drijame. And we have the package like financial support, food, and women monthly package, something like that. We are doing on it. Of course, we need the financial support because our ministry budget is run by the people support. So you can contribute to the ministry. And we also have the women organization like WLB working on the ground situation. So you can contact the CSO and support to the women who are in the prison and interrogation center. And the key message is ASEAN. ASEAN is very slow, and they are working on something, we know, but we just can't wait and see, because the people are dying every day. We don't want it happen again, like the people are dying and the failed state. So I would like to ask the ASEAN to reject military and accept NUG, because now we are struggling to hold the seat in ASEAN, because even the ASEAN, they don't have the same tone. Like in the some sector, we can work together, but in some area, it is very difficult to work. So fully recognition of NUG by ASEAN and UN is very important and urgent. And we also would like to ask the international organization for cross-border support, because thousands and thousands of people are running from the urban, and they are take refuge in the border area. They need a lot of support. Now we got the COVID vaccine for the border area, but it is not enough. We need more, like other food supplies and shelter also. So at the border cross aid also very important. And of course, the vaccine and COVID, it is a life-threatening situation. So we need your support and collaboration. Thank you very much.
Khin.
Thank you. So the first question on the situation of the men and how whether they are treated equally or differently than the women by this military, I will say in terms of how the violent treatment or the attacks from the military, there are differences and also there are similarities in terms of the gravity. The similarities or the similar level of the violence, whether regardless of they are men, women, LGBTIQ, that they get from this military is more or less the same, as long as they are resistant to the military's attempted coup and defying against this military. But then the difference is when it comes to their gender identity, the women and the LGBTIQ are subjected to like sexual violence, sexual assault. That is different than what the men get, even though there are a couple of cases where the men, in fact, were threatened that they will be raped if they don't give out their, like a password of their phone, for example. But then, so that's based on their different gender identity, that the treatment is different. Where the women and the LGBTIQ community, there is this abhorrence, like really like inhumane, like a treatment, particularly because of their gender identity. But then when it comes to the physical violence, to some degree, there are some cases, for example, those who were arrested and detained because of their bold position against the military. Then they get also immediate, like inhumane, horrific torture immediately, that they were killed or died from the torture in like 24 hours. But then, even in the recent cases, you saw the women, along with the men, when they were extrajudicially shot and killed in the same way. So my point here is this military will use all means possible, will use all violence, all forms of violence possible to actually annihilate the People's Democracy Movement, regardless of their gender. That's what I want to say. I forgot the second question though. I will, Leah, if you can help me with the second question.
Can I tell?
I was.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, Moa, do you want to come in and add something?
No, the question. Okay.
Oh, yes,
Leah,
please. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I am back. Yes, I've always forget to unmute and mute.
That's
but,
okay.
Sorry. Basically, it was about how can a woman defender be protected?
Right.
So what can
sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And Minister Susanna already replied in very detailed, so I'm not going to respond to that. But the third question, in terms of the message, following on what Minister Susanna already responded, we need the ASEAN. I mean, like, we recognize that ASEAN actually took the unprecedented step in terms of deciding not to allow or reject the coup leader Myanmar from attending the ASEAN, the recent ASEAN summits. That's good. Also, the ASEAN China meetings, that they don't allow the military leader to attend. That's good. But we need to ensure that political will is sustained within the ASEAN, to the level, not only to the summits, but also to the level of the other ministerial meetings and other mechanisms within the ASEAN. That includes the ministerial meetings of this and that. That includes the ASEAN Women and Children Commission, or the ASEAN ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, the AJAR. They have to also respond by not allowing the moderate military's representative to be sitting in the meeting to represent the people that they are killing. So I think the ASEAN must take the further steps. I mean, good first step with this, not allowing the military coup leaders attending from the summit. But I think that has to be sustained with that political will, but also expanded to the other platforms and mechanisms within the ASEAN. The other thing is the ASEAN, again, I said this again also in this platform and many other platforms also, the ASEAN must come to admit with the humility that they alone cannot solve Myanmar's crisis. The ASEAN don't have the capacity to do that. And in fact, what they need is they need to actually inform the Security Council that they alone cannot do it, that it has to be the Security Council to do it. Don't let China bully the ASEAN. We have to ensure that China don't take the agenda of the ASEAN from behind the scene. In fact, it is in the interest of the ASEAN to ensure that the Security Council actually act together, of course, the ASEAN can play the role. I think that's very important. And my last point, very important message that I haven't actually spoken on the platform that you have provided at the Junction. Lately, it come to our attention that UN agencies and also the some INGOs in Myanmar are quietly like trying to normalize the military's attempted coup by planning or already signing or extending the memorandum of understandings, the MOU, such as like, we're seeing also agencies like UNDP inviting the military junta to be a part of the meetings. Well, I'm sorry, this is such an insult to the people of Myanmar. UN systemically failed when it comes to the Rohingya genocide in 2017. It is the UN internal report, the Rosenthal report, already outlined of how the systemic failure of the UN when it comes to Myanmar. But now the question is UN going to fail again? Or is UN already fail again? But I think it's so important these UN agencies must realize, if they are going to carry on as business as usual on their such and such development programs, for whom? For what? When the whole Myanmar entire nation is in revolution, these women are actually at the front line of the revolution. And then if the UNDP or UN women, if they fail these women in their quote unquote development programs or any programs to combat the gender and sexual violence, I don't see any point. So I think it's important that UN agencies must ensure that they don't recognize or give any platform recognition to this illegal military junta, but stand with the Myanmar people. I mean, if the Myanmar people, since Myanmar people by generations already sacrificed everything they have to restore or establish democracy, what is there for these UN agencies to lose in the name of all these programs that they have for Myanmar people's development? So that's the point that I want to make today. Thank you, Leah.
Well, I think you can make another point, because one of the questions is on the 28th of November, the Minister of Commerce of the military junta is going to the World Trade Organization meeting in Geneva. This must be protested and stopped. What can we do? This question is specific for you, but others can also want to reply. What can be done? How we could protest, how we oppose this?
Yeah, we have seen this aggressive seeking out of the legitimacy from the military in the past weeks, if not months yet. Whereas also the international actors are more or less kind of like quietly, giving the platforms. Even like just a few days ago, more than 250 civil society organizations, many of us from Myanmar, joined in the letter calling on the Interpol to ban the military's representatives attending the General Assembly, for example, which is taking place right now in Turkey. And like this question on the WTO or the other any other platforms, it's really outrageous, really appalling to see the hypocrisy of the international community, particularly those who claim themselves to be democracy. And we see that UNDP inviting the military junta, which is actually accepted and accommodated by the Canadian government, who's supposed to be the pioneer and the leading actor of the women, peace and security agenda in the UN system, for example. So it's really appalling. So what do we do about it? I think we need to speak out. We need to speak out, and we need your help, all of the friends from all over the world, to join with us and speak up and speak for us, for Myanmar people who are really, sacrificing everything on the ground to to actually end this military tyranny and violence. I think all of our friends in this platform and your other networks, we would like for you to speak up, to send a message to your government. What they can do, this is the best opportune time for them to help the Myanmar to move forward. And the only way for them to do is recognize the NUG, work with the NUG as equal partners, where the NUG is the legitimate government of Myanmar people. So what's wrong with not working with them, right? So why not working with them? So I think we need to send this strong message to the agencies, INGOs, and the governments in your capitals. Make sure that they know, but also, of course, we need to be also, as the people of Myanmar, our civil society organizations and the NUG, we will need to raise our voice in the strongest terms to ensure that our people's legitimacy is recognized but not neglected and insulted.
Thank you very much. Moet, maybe you want to comment? No, or Debbie? Debbie is also silent.
No, I think Minister Susanna So and Khin Ohmar have actually said exactly what we wanted to say. So.
Okay, so we have a last question, and then I will add one more. The question is, how can people donate to support women activists and people defense forces? I believe there is at least a woman, this is in the question, I believe that there is at least one people defense force formed by women. So how can people donate both to women activists and women people defense forces? This is the last question. And I like you after also to just to finish this event. What is your dream for our vision, since the exhibition is also Women on the Street for a New Burma? What is for you the new Burma? This would be the concluding words for this event. But first, the practical, how can we donate for women organization and women people defense force?
So should I?
Yes, please.
Okay. I think I already talked about in my former answer. Our ministry doing a lot for the women activists and the women detainees and the women CDMers, and also the women in PDF, the Ministry of Defense, they are doing. But you can contact our ministry directly, then we can act very quickly to the needy area. Like we have so many channels that some of the people, they would like to do in the certain area, like they would like to support the pregnant women. So we also have that program. Some they would like to do for the CDM. So we also have the CDM network. And for the women PDF, now we work closely with the Ministry of Defense. So you can communicate through our page or messenger, so we can do quickly. And we also have so many channels. And I also would like to encourage you to buy bond, NUG bond. Now it's reached to more than 10 millions, but we need a lot. So NUG bonds, we need your support. And the second question is my dream. So my dream is soon after, our women will go to the street again for the victory. This time, not for the demonstration. we will go to the street without interruption. We will sing, we will dance, we will do the performance, and we will raise our surround flags higher this time that we won the gender. Thank you very much.
Ohmar.
Maybe I'll give Momo first the floor.
I am not sure Momo is still here because she had
Oh, okay.
some other. So maybe Debbie first.
Yeah,
and
Debbie first.
last. Debbie.
Oh, I think Susanna said it. I think Susanna said it for us that women will be out on the streets in victory because we won, but also because we got what they want, the new Burma that they wanted for. They want a society in which their equality is recognized and respected, and in which the laws and the institutions uphold women's rights, which has not been the case for so many decades.
Yeah, I also second what Minister Susanna also said, and also what Debbie said. I'm seeing I became an activist since I was 20 years old, back in 1988. This is the first time, this Spring Revolution is the first time I've seen really strong, determined resilience and the agency of the women of our country in action, like really in action, that I believe nothing is going to be able to stop anymore. I've seen them went out to the street, held demonstrations, protest, knowingly that they could get targeted by this military, showing their solidarity to the Rohingya women. The issue of the Rohingya, as you all know very well, has been like untouchable, right? Because of how the military successive regimes of Myanmar brainwash the population at large. Brainwash effectively to the point that people of our country, majority, never thought and couldn't believe that the Rohingya community is a part of our society. And when the genocide against Rohingya was committed by the military, many of the population, in fact, took side with the military. But now, we saw the young generation, in particular during the Spring Revolution, they have come to be showing their empathy, sympathy, not only to the Rohingya people, but also to the other minority communities who suffer at the hands of the military for a long time. And I saw the young women, out on the street, showing their solidarity to the women, the Rohingya women. And also now they came out with another public message saying that, doesn't matter what we wear, it is not for rape. We can wear whatever we want, right? And it's a very bold message. I'm actually, it gave me a goosebump with a very positive, energy and the hope for Myanmar, new Myanmar, that these women will be at the forefront. And we have to ensure, because, in many other revolutions, also, we have experience and learn already, from the other countries' experience. When the time comes back to normal, the women are pushed out from the mainstream politics, right? I think it is not new to the women of Myanmar, but this time on, we have to ensure that the women are not pushed out from the very legitimate space that they are entitled in the politics and the affairs of the country. And I think, with all of these brave women out there at the front line, I believe that is sort of like a part of my dream all along for a free Burma to emerge to the democratic society. Like one of the key component is this gender equality and of the sexual violence and violence against women. And I know with the strength of these women, we will achieve that, like Minister Susanna said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It seems that Moet is here. Are you here? Yeah, okay. So please, also for you, you can respond on about for the fund, where can, how we can provide support to women organization and others. And but the question is also, is there, this is also for Minister Susanna, please give an email or phone number to contact if possible. So you can answer this question as well as your dream for the new Myanmar, please.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. There are people that who want to really support the women human rights defender in Burma and people who are in the revolution in Burma. So there are many ways to support the revolution, and by supporting like the people who are involved in civil disobedience movement, and by supporting the women human rights defender, by supporting the IDP and refugees. So there's one of the really significant support for our revolution. So for us, like at the Women League of Burma, we also we work for the humanitarian aid. So we respond to the emergency need of the people for many years. And after the military coup, we also set up like a team that to be able to respond, immediate response for the need of the people. So we for the people who want to donate and to support for the women human rights defender, there are many like different needs for the women human rights defender, not only for their livelihood, also for the like relocation for their security needs, and also like communication or shelter a lot. So we can also support those kind of things. So the people who want to support, you can also contact directly us for the Women League of Burma. So we work with our member organizations. So member organizations are also based in the different area, and as well as based in also in the IDP camp and in the refugee camp. So we can support. Support it, and also have to make sure like the cross-border aid. And one thing is also what we ask is like in terms of the health issue or like other humanitarian aid issue, we really recommend like international community or individual who want to donate to work like directly with the ethnic health organization in terms of health issue. And in terms of like the education or other humanitarian aid issue, there are also like ethnic people-based civic society organization in different areas. So there is my recommendation on us, and how you can provide some funding for the women human rights defender and people who are in the revolution. For dreams, I dream a lot as a young people. I get really angry because like many young people in Burma like me, maybe they got really angry, and we have we dream a lot before the military coup as a young people, but because of the military coup, and we are really we feel really demotivated. But whatever we believe that we will win this time. That's why what we want like a new Burma. This time I believe, and I my dream, and I hope, and I wish, and I believe it's like we are going to win, and we are going to able to end the military dictatorship and any kind of military dictatorship, and also we will be able to build the federal democracy with guarantee the justice and freedoms, equality, including like the gender equality and peaceful coexistence, like New Burma. What I want to see in New Burma is peaceful, justice, freedom, and peaceful coexistence, and gender equality. And I dreams, I wish, and I believe that women are like represent in the decision-making level, in the leading role in the new future, really near new future Burma. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think with this word, with very powerful word about having a society in which gender equity is at the core of the society and violence is banned from that society, I think is a dream for all of us, not only for Burma. So I really hope you will be able to realize it and give an example to all of other countries in this world. So I am with you, and we will remain with you. Junction continue to sustain whatever we can do from outside of Myanmar in our small, small way, but hopefully still, hopefully for those who are in Thailand, please do come to see the exhibition. I think it will give you a lot of energy. It will inspire and give courage to continue this common fight, this shared fight for democracy and gender equity and acceptance of diversity of LGBT or women, etc. I think is the composition of the NUG is already an inspiration because it really has not only ethnic diversity, which before was extremely difficult for Myanmar, as we all know, and for sure will still take time to reach complete, fully acceptance, but already different representation is there, and it has also different genders. So it's an extremely good example of inclusive governance. And so we hope and we will continue to remain and advance this value for all of us and for the people of Burma. So compliments for your for the way you are fight and your courage, and I hope to meet you all again as we continue in this fight together. Thank you very much. Thank you. And please continue to promote this joint exhibition, which once again has been made possible by collaborating with AJAR, with Women League of Burma, and with the Photographer Collective. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay strong, everybody. Stay well.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.